I when I turned 40, I had a birthday party, and my theme was a retrospective, an art retrospective from 4 to 40. And looking particularly at my art that I was doing in a high school and junior high school, it was shockingly transparent to me that it was like showing my journal to the whole world. And I really, during that time, began to really consolidate a style that was very much around African American men, very much around clothing, and how those clothes kind of spoke to the people underneath. By the time I was in junior high, that was probably my main subject. It was very much, I think, in some ways, I found masculinity, I felt more accessible to me. And I'm not one of those people. I always look at people like Peter Paul Rubens and these old master artists, or who and more recent artists who are men who draw women all the time. And I think, that's very interesting. They're not drawing it because femininity feels accessible. They're drawing it out of this other different thing that I can't relate to. I like drawing things that feel accessible and familiar to me. And masculinity feels very accessible and familiar. Femininity does not. I think about it now as an artist who's going to be 47 soon. One of the things that when I draw women, I tend to draw old women, because I feel like, especially if you're doing not such a realistic style, if you're not doing life drawing, then or something really rooted in a very particular kind of realism, you have more freedom when you're drawing old women. You can do more with your lines and still have your character look like an old woman. When you're drawing younger women, I feel like there's less flexibility. At a certain point, if you're doing too much with line, if you're doing too much with jaw or too much with brow, your character no longer looks like a young woman. And so just for me as an artist who's doing a very graphic style, who hasn't practiced years and years of drawing women in a very simplistic way, I have more flexibility with men and with old women. I also don't draw very many children. For one thing, I'm interested in how adult identities express themselves in bodies. And so that's not really my line of artistic inquiry, but also because, like women, it's easy to make a child look like an adult. One additional line, and your child goes to the age of 40. And you're like, that's not a kid anymore. And so there are technical reasons why this is a really good fit for me, based on the ways that I like to do faces. But I think that still, 40 years later, or however many years later, I find masculinity is more interesting to me. It's more accessible to me. I love the trappings of masculinity and depicting those on people who wear that as their expression is very much my line of artistic inquiry.